Hello everyone and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Abby.
And I'm Liam.
We're a couple who love talking about life, relationships, parenting, work and everything in between.
Every week we sit down and explore one big question. We don't pretend to have all the answers, but we do love a good conversation. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Right, so we're back with episode 6.
We are indeed. And this week we are talking about what does success really look like.
We are. And we have been talking about this a little bit before the episode was recorded yesterday and stuff like that. But before we sort of jump into that, have you had a good week last week and weekend? It's been a bit messed up because we recorded episode 3, didn't we?
We had to re-record.
We've had to jump forwards and backwards.
When did we do that?
I can't remember. Friday, I think it was. And we said, we'll save it because we'll save, what did we do this week? And then I've forgotten what we said.
Yeah, so last week was the end of term for Theo. So he had those pointless 3 days in school where he did nothing on the Monday. He then had a water fight and played on inflatables on the Tuesday.
Yep.
Then had a very emotional leavers assembly on the Wednesday.
No, he didn't. You did.
I did.
Yeah.
I guess he's year 6 now. And leaving baby school.
He is.
What are you looking at my thing for?
Because your hair's rubbing against it.
I know, I did think that.
But
then,
it is a big thing for him to be leaving. I remember Lewis leaving and being emotional as well. Probably not the same as you, but...
No, I cried before the assembly even started. But that's just me. And then, we've had a busy old weekend, I'd say. Boys came back.
Yeah.
After being with them 10 days, wasn't it, I think?
Worked out 10 days. Yeah, we got a bit of the short straw this year, haven't we? But
and then we had a full-on Saturday, went into town for Geek Out and watched some really cringe-worthy wrestling.
Watching full-grown men scream and shout at each other and pretend to punch each other is quite an experience.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever watched the wrestling in real life.
It'd be the last time.
No, I think I would go just for the cringe factor.
I would go with the kids. If you said to me, hey babe, let's go and watch some, I can't remember what it was called.
Well, I don't want to disappoint you, babe, but the 1st of August, I booked tickets for the evening show.
Who are you going with?
No.
Because it's not me.
Just kidding.
But and we had Theo's leavers prom or leavers party. Was that the week before?
Yeah.
God, my weeks are just messed up. Work is...
Well, that was the Saturday actually, wasn't it? So I don't know. That was the Saturday night.
Well, that wasn't last Saturday, was it?
No, it was Saturday before.
Yeah, so we must have said something. I can't remember.
Yeah, we did. I think we did because we sat in the corner with our laptops.
Yeah, my brain is scrambled.
But then,
I've been just getting up too early and going to bed too late. And my mind is very much work orientated at the moment, which is, I guess, in keeping with what I think success looks like. Although I question myself all the time, is this what success actually is? Mm-hmm. When I'm sat there doing 50 odd hour weeks, trying to get a project across the line. But so our question is, when you hear the word success, who or what comes to mind first? Is it money, happiness, career, family, freedom, or something else? And what is it for you?
I think it's just a mix of everything. I think... I don't...
No, I'm not laughing.
I'm getting into it. Predominantly, I think happiness, sort of being happy. But then that's because you've got the money, because you got the career, because you got the family and the freedom.
Yeah.
But obviously not everyone is happy having all that and wouldn't see themselves as successful. But to me, that's what I feel success is someone being very happy, having the money, having that career that they love, enjoy, worship, but also have a family that they love, spend that time with, and freedom.
I would tend to agree. I think for me, I would lean towards career, because success just sounds like a business word. Like, what makes you successful? If someone just said to you with no other context, have you been successful? You would think they were talking about work. But if you look at the bigger picture, I think for me, I'm going to be able to sit at the end of my life and say, I was successful if I feel that my kids have everything that they need, and my kids have been able to go and be better than me. Like, then I think we've done what we're supposed to do, and I would class that as a success. Life is full of ups and downs, so success isn't a finite thing. Like, it does go up and down.
No, and well, it can. You could have been successful in your early years at a sport, at some sort of learning, but then later on in life feel that you're not successful because you haven't achieved X, Y, Z.
Well, it depends how you measure your success, because if you measure your success by setting your own goals, it's far easier to disappoint yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, there's lots of different metrics you could cover success by. But I think, maybe if you look at other people around you, family, and, whether they feel they're, like, I look at my parents and I'm like, I feel like they're successful. Am I in a better position than them? Have I led a more successful life than them? I don't think so. Like, I'm sure maybe, but I'm sure they would disagree. Like, because that's what parents do. They'd be like, no, you've done amazing. Like, look at this. And they'd remind me of all the things that I've done good. But like, if someone asked me now, am I, successful? What comes to mind for you when you hear the word success? Like, I would probably say I feel successful, but not in the way that I want to. I would love to work for myself so I could have more times with my kids. Like, I would love to be there for my kids more than I currently am. And I know that that's never going to happen now.
Yeah.
Like, but, there's things that are outside of my control that stop me from seeing my kids more than 50-50. So, like, there's just no way that's going to happen. But I also know that doesn't make me any less successful.
No.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. And we were having these conversations last night, weren't we?
Yeah.
When I was having a bit of a breakdown in bed.
You need to define what that means.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So, sort of, to me, like, I feel that you're really successful.
Yeah.
Because you are on your second house. Not that you've got two houses, but you bought one when you were however old, and then you upgraded to this one. You managed to keep the roof over your head through your divorce.
Barely.
But you did. You got a really good career. It makes you work hard, but it pays but good. And you have got a really good family who were there for you, have your back.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not discounting my family that they don't have my back, but my family sort of are miles away. And I guess we haven't got the connection that your family has. And yeah, sort of I was just on a bit of a downer last night and feeling worthless and not successful.
But you're not worthless. And whilst you might not say you are successful, no, I'm looking that way whilst I'm thinking of what I'm saying. We are not. Are you picking nails off again?
It fell off.
We're not exactly old or beyond our sort of years or anything like that. There's plenty of time for you to feel successful, and you have a much better platform to build on than you've ever had before. And I'm not putting that down to me. Like, I've seen you grow as an individual since I've known
and
you.
I feel like, there have been tiny stepping stones in my life where I've felt successful.
Yeah.
Like
running marathons? Yeah, you can't say, like, for me, that's a massive success milestone. Like, I can't run a marathon. Like,
Not me anymore, but
You were running double marathons as well.
yeah. Back in the day, babe.
Yeah, well, next year we'll do another one.
But yeah, like, you know, it's just those little moments of self-doubt and whatever that I have that just make you feel like shit. But
Yeah.
I know, like, looking back on my life, I've had numerous sort of successes. Like, I never thought prior to meeting you that I would, and it may sound really silly and little to some people, but to me it was massive to have a house that was rented and I was paying the rent. That was mine and Theo's. And I had worked to get there.
Yeah.
Getting upset now.
You had. And I actually remember when we said about you moving in here, I almost felt guilty, like saying, well, come and live here, because your story of how hard you'd worked to get that place and to find stability through the sort of hard times you'd faced with Theo, I felt like I was taking that away from you. And to me, like, you felt like a success in your own right. Like, you may not have everything that you wanted, but you had everything that you needed. And that's exactly what I just said about how I look at success. Like, I might not be able to give my kids absolutely everything, but as long as I've given them enough for them to have, you know, the best chance, then I think you've been a success as a parent. Like, it doesn't matter about your job and all that sort of stuff. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you earn. Some people earn so much money but are still shit parents, and other people earn absolutely nothing and are amazing pillars of the community and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, are great parents and great role models. So it's got nothing to do with success as a career.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this world, we revolve around money.
Yeah.
Or money revolves around everything. Like, no, the other way around. Everything revolves around money. And, you know, it's just the way it is. But, yeah, like, I don't think anything but good things when I think of what you've achieved over the last sort of 10 years.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to be taken away from you that you've moved in here. And yes, okay, it's not your house on paper, but I don't think that you feel like that. I would hope you don't feel like that. I think we've made this place very much our place. Like, okay, we haven't decorated this room since you've moved in, but I think every other room we've decorated.
Or changed.
I
know we've changed this one around.
We've changed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've changed it, but it's just no paint on the walls in this one. But everything else has been touched. Like, we've definitely made it our place. And I was really concerned about that.
Yeah, I remember.
I was really concerned about it. We did it really quickly after you moved in. I was like, right, let's make it our place, because I didn't want you to feel like you were walking in the house of, well, in my history.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Marital home.
But it never felt like that.
No.
Like, we digressed a little bit off of success, but you know, like, I still think that you going and getting your own place and all that is not all for nothing, because if you hadn't have been in that situation when we met, maybe we wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, call me really shallow, but if me and you had met and you were really, really like, I've got to work every hour under the sun to make ends meet and all that sort of stuff, and we couldn't have the time that we had to get to know each other and all that sort of stuff, things might not have worked. And that's not me purposely being like, oh, if you were struggling, I wouldn't have got together with you. No. Right. We are on episode 6. Are we ever going to get through an episode where you don't yawn?
No.
Anyway, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, no, that's more time-wise rather than money-wise. Your situation you were just saying.
Yeah, and also, let's not forget, I didn't have to stop my career to have kids. Mm-hmm. My career continued. I got very little time with my kids. I had a week, paternity leave? Paternity? Yeah.
Paternity, yeah.
I had a week paternity leave, of which I took all of it, and it was paid. I think statutory it was paid. And I went straight back to work.
Yeah.
And, my ex was on leave for, I think, a year. Half of that was paid full-time, I think, or near enough full-time, and then on statutory. And we were in a fortunate position. Because I was working every hour under the bloody sun.
Yeah.
But we were in a fortunate position that could happen. But when you're on your own, those options aren't there. You can't do that stuff.
No.
So...
and we touched on that, I think, in episode 1.
In episode 1, we mentioned it. Like, you fell foul of the childcare trap and all that sort of stuff. But what I'm saying is to be able to still build yourself up through those periods, that is success.
Yeah.
And it is. You didn't move backwards, you moved forwards the whole time.
The whole time.
And you still managed to train for a marathon. So.
Except it wasn't working.
Yeah, you weren't working, but...
And I had childcare.
Yeah.
3 hours. Thanks, government.
Oh, I think the 3 hours is probably the only thing that I actually got.
Yeah.
Not saying that I needed anything else or I should have had anything else, but I think that was the only thing that I did actually get. Everything else I wasn't entitled to, so...
Yeah.
But should we run through some of the scenarios?
Yes, so...
You can lead.
I'm going to go... I love to put in some of these scenarios together going forward. I was like,
you were very excited about this episode.
Yeah.
And then cried about it last night.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm just going to run through it from scenario 1. So you're offered your dream job, but it means working 70 hours every week. Do you take it?
No.
No.
Wow. I was quick to say no.
I'm still being really quick to say no. 70 hours is long.
In 10 years' time, if my dream job that I absolutely loved and I enjoyed it, like, if I really enjoyed it...
In 10 years' time?
Yeah, hang on. Hear me out.
Okay.
The kids are all older. In 10 years' time, I know they're probably still going to be living with us because of the state of our country, but they can be left on their own. They're fend for themselves. They can cook and all that sort of stuff. Like...
Yeah.
If working 70 hours gave me space and time to do something that I enjoy, and I don't know, I had some social aspect to it and things like that, it didn't feel like work because I enjoyed it so much, then maybe I would, especially if it paid well, because my sort of frame of mind would be put it in my pension, put it in my savings, and retire earlier. So I don't know, maybe, is providing for your family a success or being more present important? That's circumstantial around how old the kids are. Would I do it now? Absolutely not. My kids are too young to... They need us there. So, but you just not do it because it's 70 hours.
Yeah, 40 hours is too much.
Well, even if you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a job that I'm going to thoroughly enjoy.
Like?
I don't think.
What if this just became your full-time job, just talking on camera?
I think people get bored of me talking on camera for 70 hours.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, I personally don't think working your ass off is worth it. Yes, okay. Like, there are people out there who do work, they probably shouldn't, 60, 70 hours, especially in the care industry. But they don't have a life. Like, they live for work. And yes, it's paying the bills and probably only just paying the bills. But I don't know, I value sort of the weekends we have now. I value the evenings. I value being able to turn off from work.
I
just don't think I could do it regardless.
Yeah, I think working that many hours is detrimental to your actual health long term, even if you don't notice it at the time. Like, 70 hours is an awful long time. I'm not going to do the maths on how many hours there are in a week right now on camera, because it'll take me a long time. But it's a good chunk of your actual awake time during your week. And, I think I know people who work every hour under the sun, and I think sometimes it's just a distraction
Yeah.
for what else you've got going on in your life. But who knows? Like I've done many hours before, but mine was a bit different. Mine was like contractual. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, yeah.
What is wrong with you?
I was trying to burp quietly, but it went a bit wrong.
Okay.
Anyway, should we go on to the next scenario?
We literally had a conversation the other day about like camera etiquette.
Yeah.
Pick him.
I'm learning.
Learn faster. Yeah, okay, so one partner earns 5 times more than the other. Does money change a relationship? Should finances create power? Or would either of you feel uncomfortable? So let's put this in the context of us now.
Yep.
And I'm not going to sort of disclose actual financial information, but there is a considerable disparity between what we earn.
Yeah. And again, even just this morning, I had another. This morning? No, Friday morning.
I don't know what you're talking about.
When I had a bit of a breakdown because I felt bad for not sort of earning enough. I can't remember what morning that was.
I don't know, but we to be fair, we have had this sort of money guilt, and it's interesting because I feel the guilt as well.
Yeah.
Like, because I earn more than you, I feel the guilt on the other side of the same coin. Like, you feel guilty because you don't earn as much and
haven't got the...
Yeah, you can't contribute as much. And I feel guilty because...
You're taking that money away.
No.
Oh.
No, not at all.
Oh.
It's not, no, I don't feel guilty because you're taking my money away. That doesn't make sense. I wouldn't feel guilt from that. Like,
What, leaving me with nothing?
No. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant taking my money away.
No.
I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
No, I do feel guilty of that, but I also feel guilty that it doesn't matter what you do. Like, you can't make up that difference. And it doesn't matter how much I try to sort of dumb it down, like not dumb it down, that's not the right words, but dampen the effect of the difference between us. With, we've got an accounting spreadsheet and stuff like that. And I try to make the numbers look like, but we've got the same amount of this left over. Like, it's really difficult to do. And you still feel like, there's numbers on the screen that you're like, well, I can see the difference.
Yeah.
And we've had quite open conversations about making sure that doesn't introduce a divide or a power, where I'm like, no, you can't have that money to do that. Mm-hmm. I think our financial setup is quite strong compared to what we know about other people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't think either of us actually feel uncomfortable about the difference. We feel guilty sometimes about what we can't give each other or not. Like, I don't know. I don't feel uncomfortable about coming to you and being like, oh, babe, I have not earned enough now this month to give you money.
Yeah. It's not just to give you money. No.
To
cover costs of living.
So, obviously with the change of job and the change of sort of how much not how much I'm getting paid, but the frequency and how I'm being paid has now changed.
Yeah.
So instead of saying to you, I can't afford to pay you the full amount, I just didn't give myself any savings this time. Yeah, just to get ourselves on track a bit, isn't it? Just to see where this is going. But
I feel guilty when that happens, even though I know there's nothing I can do about it, because I don't feel like you're struggling because I know you're not struggling. And I also know that if you were struggling, same if I was struggling, we'd rally together the savings that we have and the things like that to make sure that we make it through. We are still very much a team in this.
Yeah.
But our setup is filled with flexible design, if that makes sense, that we do have the flexibility to be like, well, we pay ourselves an allowance every week, don't we, for doing things with the kids, and personally to do things for us. If you want to go and get, I don't know, buy some clothes or get your hair done or whatever, if I want to go and spend way too much money on Amazon, it comes out of pots that don't affect our bills.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. But sort of going back to sort of just not us in this scenario, and does money change a relationship? I think in some circumstances it does.
Go on.
Because you've got some people who will be attracted to that person for the sake of the money.
Yeah.
And I think when we were having a conversation previously about big gestures and stuff, and when they stop happening, that person's going to feel like, oh, what's going on? I think in a relationship, if a partner's earning 5 times more and is always then spending money for that person, these big gestures, little gestures, whatever, little presents, and that suddenly stops, that's going to flip that relationship again.
Maybe, yeah.
I think, and they'll be like, oh, okay. Or that person who earns 5 times more suddenly gets made redundant.
Yeah.
And then can't provide and maintain that relationship status that they've got up there.
I get that. And I think that's a dynamic that would happen even if you earn the same. If one of you suddenly got made redundant and everything's on the other person.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But it would be 5 times worse if you earned 5 times more. Like,
yeah, but if you are in this relationship where some people do, some couples, one partner is just kept and can be work free and splurged on,
Yeah.
What?
Is that an ideal?
Well, wouldn't go amiss, but I'll say that in about the big gestures, didn't I?
Yeah.
But no, I like we've had countless amounts of conversations about careers and whatnot, and as much as I jest that I would know that I don't want to work, and I would love to not work, I had that week off before starting my new job.
Yeah, and you were lost.
And by the end of it, I was. What am I
You were
gonna do today?
actually under my feet whilst I was working, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Babe, you need to go and find something to do." I've done everything. I'm like, "This is why you don't have a week off with nothing planned."
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't not work, but I think if you suddenly started earning 5 times more than me, I don't think it would change our relationship, but I do think it might change. Right, I was going to use the word power when it comes to money dynamics, but actually power is the wrong word, because it's not. I didn't mean power as in control. I meant the weight of money. So like right now, I don't make all of the financial decisions.
No.
Is that a child hanging around?
No, I was just trying to look at the other questions on the other side.
No. But it sounded like someone was creeping around. Our kids are exceptionally good at just sneaking around.
Yeah, I don't know if we closed that door down the bottom.
Yeah, I did. I closed it.
Did you?
But not that they're locked away. They've gone to bed. But I think if you suddenly started earning 5 times more than me, I would be less confident to be like, right, here's the plan of what we're going to do with our money, like how we're going to save, divide. Like if you can contribute this, then, I'll change up, because we do things like changing the breakdown insurance and things like that. So we've got multi-plans, and I have just taken the lead on that stuff, I guess.
I don't think things would change that much. We would literally just put it into the spreadsheet and go from there.
Yeah, I'm just too
because I
regimented with that sort of stuff.
Yes, but that's what I need, and that's why I've been able to save money, etc., and be on this path where money isn't actually an issue now. But with like a spreadsheet.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, we're digressing a little bit, but I think financially, you haven't suddenly started earning loads more, but you have much more expendable money than you've ever had. And it isn't because your bills are less or anything like that. Comparably, when you were living on your own to living here, your bills aren't that much less.
No.
We're only talking like 200 quid less, because we've got other stuff that we need to pay for, and you decided to get a new car.
Yeah.
But, it's just, Yeah, but that's an interesting one. I think until it actually happens,
You wouldn't know, would you?
you don't know. I mean, I think if it was me earning 5 times more than you, my guilt for spending stuff, like, I think I would naturally spend more on you directly. Or I think I'd be like, look, I just want to divide this in a way that I don't feel guilty for having more than you. So
Yeah.
let's go and get a full-blown joint account. We both get paid into that joint account. And, you know, ironically, that's what happened in my previous relationship. Like, I did feel guilty for earning more and having more money. And we put everything into a joint account. What's mine is yours. What's yours is mine. And that's it. That is enough said on that. But
Do you want scenario 3?
yeah,
So you could become financially free tomorrow, but nobody would ever know what you achieved. Would you still do it? Is success about recognition or fulfillment?
I would absolutely do it. If I could become financially free tomorrow and nobody even knew my name for the rest of my life, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you are truly financially free, you can focus on anything else that you feel is important without worry. And I'm like, why would anybody not take that up? Like, I don't really care if I don't care if you don't see the reason why I've achieved what I've achieved.
Yeah.
Or why I'm financially free, or why we're now financially free. If you're like, I don't get it, babe, I'm going to be like, cool, let's go and buy our yacht. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, she won't get me on the sea.
Get seasick. Yeah, no, I agree. I'd take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, of course you would. That's like saying, you know, we could become financially free tomorrow by winning the lottery. You know, nobody's going to say, oh,
How? Why?
like, well done.
Yeah.
Like, I won the lottery. That's why I'm financially free now. But so success is great, and I do like to be recognized for the things that I do. And I think in a large respect, I am, like, in my sort of career and stuff like that. Like, but if somebody said to me, Liam, you could earn 100 times more than what you earn now, but you're not ever allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to post things and be part of communities in your industry and things like that, and be recognized for the things that you do, I'd literally go, okay.
Yeah.
And take the money.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't. So for me, that's a bit of a nonsense question, because anybody with any logic to them would always take the money.
Yeah. I agree.
And there you go. So last one then for this section. I like how it's called success under pressure.
Gotcha. Well, it's because it's scenarios, so
Right, okay.
I think.
So imagine you're 80 years old and looking back on your life. What would you honestly say? Honestly say about what?
Your life.
What if you were successful?
Well, no, just imagine you're 80 years old looking back on your life.
Are we talking about us now? That's not a
Yeah.
scenario. That's very much real life. It's not a scenario.
Well, it is, because we're not there, are we?
We're not 80, yeah, but we're still
Do
talking
you know
about
what
our own
what
lives.
would you honestly say if I'm 80 years old?
You'd be like, thank fuck I made it
Oh
here.
my God, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, how am I still alive?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like to think that when I'm 80, I've been able to look back and go, God, retiring at 39 was exactly the right decision, Liam. You're well done for doing that.
Yeah.
But I know that's not going to happen. But, you know, I would like to think that I never let work get in the way of my family. I never compromised on my desired standard of living. And part of that is making sure that I have the work and the career to support the standard of living that I want, which is basically what we have now. And, you know, I hope that I didn't squander any of my time, especially to work.
Yeah.
Work's important, but work-life balance is far more important to me. Like, you know, look at today. I know that we are busy. You know, I know I've got a lot going on, but it's the summer holidays and I had 3 kids at home who wanted to go out on bikes.
Yeah.
So the second I could finish work, I finished. I started early. I started too early. I was up at 4:45, 5 o'clock, and starting work so I could finish early.
Yeah.
And the second that last meeting was done, I clocked out and we got on the bikes and off we went. And I think that is important. And I hope when I look back on my life, I didn't ever compromise on that stuff.
Yeah.
How about you, apart from the obvious?
No, I'd just be like, oh, we made it.
Yeah, but you must look back and, there's parts of what you hope to be successful for at 80 that you must know now. What do you want? Or what do you hope that you're...
I think I would honestly say, like, I would be proud of, like, the achievements that I have had throughout my life. I say, obviously, I don't know what is yet to come.
I'm sure you're going to achieve a lot.
I hope so. Yeah, just proud, because I don't feel I've had the easiest of lives.
No.
So far. But yeah, I'd just be proud of where I am, and maybe sort of doing a bit of a 360, saying I was successful.
Yeah. I think being able to look back and say, I never gave up. And, I always tried my hardest. I don't think you can ask any more of anybody, really.
No.
I think people who just give up, like, I know everyone's got their reasons for reaching that point where they just want to give up, but I think it's even harder when you've got kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't give up when you've got kids. Stop picking your nails.
Sorry. Try and get them off now. Yes and no. So I agree with that you can't give up when you've got kids, but sometimes it's easier said than done.
Oh, no, I get that. But I think you'll be able to look back and go, you didn't. And look where you are and look what you've achieved. And, I think for both of us, the only way is up, really. We when we met each other, we were both not at rock bottom, but I'd fallen a long way.
Yeah.
And now I don't feel like that at all. So,
nope.
Apart from working too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think those were some good scenarios there, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do the next section?
Yep. So we have kind of covered some of this, I think, already.
Well, just pick out the ones that you think are still relative.
Next section is sort of what does success mean to us? And we briefly touched, has your definition of success changed as you've got older?
Yeah, definitely. Well, to be fair, when I was younger, I probably didn't ever ask myself what I thought success was.
Getting a girlfriend, probably.
Even then, I was young. Like, I had a girlfriend at 16. Was like my first serious girlfriend. I was with her till 18. I split up with her, and I had like a year with my sister's friend, who that was like not serious, but it was still quite a long time. It was like 10, 11 months that I was with her for.
Yeah.
And then broke up with her, and the next girl that I got together with, I was with for 15 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, girlfriends and all that sort of success was never something that I seem to just fall into the lifestyle that I had and all that sort of stuff. Even how I got an apprenticeship and started my career was all by chance and me grabbing an opportunity when it came up.
Yeah, and I think my definition of success has changed as I've got older. But I think it's because you've got different goals.
Yeah.
Like your goals change, so your definition of success will change. Like when you're at school, your definition of I can't bloody talk. Your definition of success would be passing those grades, passing your GCSEs at school, passing your A levels. to
Yeah.
then be able to go on and do what you want. So like for me, it was then going to uni. My success then would would then be me finishing university, getting a degree, which didn't happen.
No.
So I felt unsuccessful. And then it went downhill from there. But now, as I got older, like success has changed. And I see myself successful in many different ways, like we spoke about previously.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we've got on there, like, what does success mean to you when you were 20? Like, if someone asked me at 20, I don't know. It's really, like, we've said on another episode that our lives started so differently in sort of early 20 years. At 20, I was buying my first house. And okay, I had some support on that. It wasn't like, mum and dad's money is paying for this house. It was, I had a springboard in which I paid back. But at 20, I was in my final year of an apprenticeship that paid it was paying what you get paid now.
Yeah.
And, we're talking 22 years ago. No, sorry, when I finished it. So yeah, coming up like 18 years ago.
Yeah.
And, so if somebody had asked me, what did I feel successful then? My answer would have been no. It was through naivety to my position compared to other people.
Yeah.
And it really isn't until I look back at the position I was in that I go, fucking hell, like me and my ex, when we first bought the house, had a dual income of like 51 grand or 53 grand or something like that. She was 18.
Yeah.
And I was 21. Like, that, you just don't find that now. Like,
no, definitely not. And like I say, my life at 20 was completely different to that. I was quitting university, dropping out, working in a pub, and drinking my life away.
Yeah, whereas
built up the debt from uni, the student loans.
Yeah, well, I think that's one thing that I was very adamant that I was not going to do. Like, I think I saw the wood for the trees when it came to student debt, and was like, it's not worth it.
No, and in hindsight, but it's only from knowing you really about the whole apprenticeship thing and how successful you could be. Like, I wish maybe I had taken a more sort of vocational route that way.
Oh yeah, I won't push our kids into doing something that, especially if they don't want to do it, but I will definitely showcase the avenue of apprenticeships and be like, don't feel like you need to rush down the uni route. Like, I've done absolutely great out of not having a degree.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
So, but yeah, I think success at 20, that's an interesting question, because unless you're into something crazy, or you've got really lucky, or you've worked exceptionally hard, much harder than the average or even the sort of top end people, at 20 it's very difficult to say you are successful, and it's even more difficult to say that you know what success means in life at 20.
Yeah, you're still I don't think we know today.
No, I think if I look back, I think I stumbled through all my early 20 years extremely blind to where I was going and the route I was heading. It just happened to turn out okay.
The way it did, yeah.
Like, I think my parents probably wouldn't like me saying this, but I think in some respects I stumbled through the shadow of my parents. Like, my parents got together really young. They're still together now. Like, they've got a great relationship, and they are the epitome of a good marriage and all that sort of stuff. And I think that was just sort of, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. Whereas that doesn't make, the success side of it any less relevant. But I just didn't know what I was doing. So I think it's impossible for me to answer
Yeah.
what did it mean to me when I was 20? Because I fucking didn't know
know.
what I was doing with my life at 20, even though I was in a house and, you know, kids were sort of right on the horizon at 20. I can't remember how old I was when I had my first son, but 23, I think.
No, 24.
Do the maths, babe. 24. But yeah, do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, like, and is success measured by achievements or by peace of mind? I think we've answered that really. Like, I think contextually, achievements are measured by, success is measured by achievements.
Yeah.
Because that's how you say to somebody else, well, I've done this and this and this. And you showcase your success.
Yeah, yeah.
But the things that matter, like me and you, your family, your kids, like for those things and those relationships to be a success, they're not showcaseable by anything other than your memories.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I know people plaster stuff all over Facebook and things like that to showcase all that stuff to other people. But the reality is,
well, let's like lead on to that to section 3, because I think we have spoke about like what success does mean to us quite a bit. And there's a question there that's saying, does social media distort what success looks like? And I think it does.
yeah.
I think people will put out on social media what people want to see.
100%.
Biggest probably example are the kids in YouTube.
What do you mean?
So I know like YouTube can make someone successful. You know, you got these gamers who are like the boys watch.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but they've spent years and years doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and they've got some money behind them somewhere. If you look at their families.
Not everybody, but yeah.
No, not everyone, but like the big ones say that our kids watch. And I feel like it distorts their view of success and how to make money, that they can literally just jump on YouTube and make a video and they'll be a millionaire.
Yeah, I think the YouTube thing, which is very ironic
I know.
of us to, or hypocritical of us to be saying that.
Yeah.
But, you know, not that we want to be making millions off of this, and I really don't think that's going to happen. But, yeah, social media, especially in the kids industry, like videos or content made for children, but not children, if that makes sense. It's not like cartoons and fluffy rabbits and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's gaming, Minecraft, Fortnite, Overwatch, stuff like that. It's all it's not targeted at adults, is it?
No.
The social media or the content that they're creating is targeted at kids
to entice them in, and
to get them watching, to get them, because there's a weird thing with kids and watching gaming where they don't want to put the effort into actually playing the game. They just want to watch someone else do it. I find it really bizarre.
Yeah.
That they're happy. And then it goes one layer even deeper where they'll watch someone else watch someone playing a game. And I'm like, I don't understand how this is good to watch.
And I think for us, like, that wasn't a thing when we were growing up.
Oh, so, God, no.
You know, we
had to tune in at certain times to watch cartoons and stuff that we wanted to watch.
Yeah, and so we don't have that understanding, and I don't know whether it's pressures from other children, because then other children are watching it and they're like, oh, well, so-and-so is watching it. I need to watch it to know what they're talking about. And
yeah.
But I think that's the whole thing about social media, isn't it? Is that there's the social pressures to...
But I think sometimes it doesn't even have to be intentionally put upon them. So I was watching something with the kids a while ago that was talking about Lewis Hamilton in Formula One and how by the age of 10 he was doing XYZ and was karting and all this sort of stuff, and how hard his parents were working, especially his dad, to get into these tracks, to pay for tires, to have upgrades and all this sort of stuff. And whilst I was watching it, I was thinking, how inspirational this is to show children, like, look at what you can achieve at this age. And then the other flip side of it is it's actually really easy for kids to be destructive with it and be like, well, I don't do any of that. Like, and my dad doesn't take
do
me
that.
here and doesn't pay for this and hasn't got the time for me to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think social media, whilst it can distort what success looks like, especially in kids,
You can highlight.
it can distort whatever it wants.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about what you do with that information once you've consumed it. They just want to get the views.
Yeah.
And I think kids really struggle to understand that. But we're in a completely different, uncharted territory with kids and what they feel like success would be. We've got different experiences as children with our parents and watching our parents and what they've done and achieved in their lives. And you know, we've got more of a grounded anchor on what success on an average scale looks like. Our kids won't have any of that because, like you say, they're completely skewed by YouTube and digital shorts and all that sort of stuff. You know, what would you think? What, you know, we're not going to ask them on camera sort of thing, but what do you think our kids would actually say if we said, what do you think success is?
I don't know.
Do you think they'd give us a concise answer, or do you think they'd waffle on about YouTube and things like that?
I think it's, for them it'd be having money and being rich. I think.
Do you reckon?
Mm-hmm. Maybe being happy and having money.
I'd be happy if they said being happy, especially if they put it before money.
Yeah.
I'd be concerned if they were a bit like...
Maybe it's something that we do ask them.
Maybe.
And do a little parking lot on that.
Yeah. Gotta get a parking lot in. We keep talking about parking lots. We need to actually film some.
We will.
And I quite like this one. Is comparison the biggest thief of happiness?
Yes.
I think it absolutely is.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that. Sort of, obviously being a single parent, surrounded by sort of all my friends at that time. They were coupled up. They were married, you know. And I think, I was always sort of jealous of that. It took away the happiness.
Yeah.
But yes, okay, I should be happy that I've got a child, because obviously some people struggle, they can't. But for me, you know, I always want that family element. So seeing the family pictures that they're putting on social media and going round and being, you know, surrounded by couples, to me, I'd be like, you know.
I get that.
So there'd be times when I would just withdraw from it all because I didn't be surrounded by it.
Yeah, no, I get that. And, you know, I mean, it's a well-known phrase, isn't it? Comparison's the biggest thief of happiness. And I do agree. But you can't turn off comparing.
Oh, absolutely.
People are like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not a good thing to do. It's a subconscious thing. You naturally compare.
Yeah, and I think even me and you, I don't know whether you have, I have, like, compared us and the rate that our relationship's going, compared it with other couples. And I'm like, I don't need to be comparing. It didn't take away my happiness because I'm happy with you regardless.
No, I didn't do that. But my comparativeness is slightly skewed by the fact that I just don't care about what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, no, I think for me it's because sort of for us, we have our children, well, my child, probably 90% of the time. Whereas, do you see where I'm going with this?
No, that's different. That's a worry comparative that for, you know, you're seeing other couples that have maybe got together recently and things like that.
Been able to go on holiday.
They have time.
The freedom.
Because they're on a schedule that means that they don't have their children in windows of time where they can go away together and do things. And we just don't have that.
Yeah.
So
it hasn't taken away, but that hasn't taken away anything from our relationship because we still do it.
I think one of the biggest things is you are a kids person and I am a kids person. So I don't need to banish the kids away, and neither do you, in order for us to do something. We just go, let's bring the kids along and we'll all have a good time. And we do. That's exactly what we do.
Definitely. Yeah.
And but I think if someone said, what do I compare? I don't think I compare anything on a relationship scale. Actually, that's actually really not true.
No.
Like, I'm sorry.
I don't know. I was just getting stuff up ready.
Oh, you watching the clock again?
Yeah.
But I think in my previous relationship, I think making comparisons was actually one of the catalysts for us falling apart.
Oh, really?
And that was me. I would need to own that. Like, I was comparing us to other couples and being like, other couples laugh all the time. Like,
yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, other couples make time for each other. They go and do things. Like, other couples will book time off work to go and do something together instead of work being the be all and end all of the relationship, like, or the relationship revolving around work.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm stuck, you know, and I got friends that are quite open about their relationship and status. I'm like, the things that I'm hearing that you guys are getting up to, I'm like, you guys have been together for many years as well. And I'm like, that spark and fun and risk taking and, you know, that's just not there.
Yeah.
And when I look back at it now, I realize I didn't actually want any of that. Like, and it's not because the relationship was falling apart. It's just that's not me to want any of that anyway. I was looking for a reason to, how do I put it? Justify the feelings that I was feeling about things falling apart, if that makes sense. But it became really bad for me comparing. And like, I think comparison, like when I was making those comparisons, it really did make me unhappy.
Yeah.
It's really easy to use it as a scaffolding for the rest of your emotion to hang off of.
Yeah, and to place the blame on that.
Yeah. Oh, we're not working because look what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, so-and-so from work's just gone and done this. He's been with his partner for 30 years. Like,
why aren't we doing
that stuff? Like, we used to do that stuff.
Yeah, we've been together 10 years, babe. We're not married.
Yeah.
No, joking. We haven't been together 10 years.
Oh, we are married. Shh. No,
secret.
We're not. That's the second or third episode you've dropped marriage in now. You're getting as bad as Ryan dropping it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think we've already answered. What do you hope your children grow up believing success is? I want my kids. There's actually two things that I really want my kids to do, and it might not be success related so much, but there's two things that I really want my kids to grow up knowing, and this does include Theo. Like,
yeah,
I want them all to grow up knowing that family is key. Like, we should always have a very strong family bond.
Absolutely.
I want us to. I will work hard to make sure we do. I want my kids. Well, I say my kids. It's funny because when I say my kids now, I'm in my mind. I'm just including Theo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want the kids or our kids to grow up and see how my family is and yours. Like, your family is still loving and everything. They're just not as close.
Yeah.
But I want them to know that family is important, and I want them to understand that our door is always open. Just come round. If you want dinner, come round and just go in the fridge. Just don't drink the Coke, but you can go in the fridge. Like, do you know what I mean? Just come round. And the other thing is I really hope that they take away from what I've been through. And I haven't sat down and explained any of this to the kids, and I very much doubt I will unless they ask me later. But I want them to understand that getting divorced, breaking up with long-term partners, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And you should do it if you are unhappy. Like,
yeah, I think so.
Leave. Try and fix it. But if you really do feel like there's nothing left to fix, just leave. Don't waste your years. Leave.
Yeah, and I think, and this is going to digress a little bit, I think for you, obviously your parents are still together.
Yeah.
So your divorce and you know, relationship breakdown was something that you never wanted because you wanted that lifelong partner from her, didn't you? Like,
well, I wanted what my parents had.
Exactly.
That was instilled in us as kids.
However, So because you haven't seen those relationship breakdowns previously, it might have felt harder for you. Whereas the children have been exposed to it.
Yeah.
So feel that they will be more understanding in that situation.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm...
And interestingly, I think for my parents, I've got 2 sisters. We've all been divorced.
Yeah.
And sorry if you feel like I'm airing your dirty laundry, but like we have been.
Yeah.
And I think for my parents, that could very well amount to a feeling of being unsuccessful as parents, because they want us to have what they have and all that. Of course they do. And trying to be like, it's not like that. Like, look at what we've all gone on to find. We're all much happier than we ever have been.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is success.
Yeah.
And I just want the kids to understand that you can't measure your life on what hasn't been. You can only measure on what's happening. So yeah. And then we have a wrap up.
We're wrapping it up.
If you could define success in just one sentence, what would it be? God, that's actually really hard.
I know, that's why I've been sat here like looking at like.
Is that what you were doing?
I wasn't listening. No, I was.
I don't know. In just one sentence, what would it be? Redefine, not define.
No,
if you could
so
redefine success in just one sentence, what would it be? Oh, I think that's a bit easier, because I think success is too closely tied to finance, and to be successful is widely looked at as just, you don't have to worry about money so much. I would like to redefine that as success is more, do you have the family ties that make a strong, loving family? Is your household safe? Are your children safe? Are they safe in the knowledge that they're loved by their parents? Are they safe in...
It's not a sentence, but yeah.
No, but I would want to redefine... Okay. I'd want to redefine it that way. A sentence that sums that up. I can't think of a sentence that sums that up.
Mine's going to be, success is what you make it.
Stop. Nice. It is, but that is what success is.
Yeah.
Your success is not the same as my success.
No. Success is what you make it, comma. Everyone is different. Full stop.
No, that's just made it a social media tagline, like. But yeah, 100% now that's going to appear as, this is a good thing to clip.
Absolutely. Anyway, that's the end of episode 6.
Yeah.
Our next episode is...
Come on, I thought you were prepared.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to just rile it up a little. Isn't so far off, like, sort of success, but it's about, is life really fair? And there are some good scenarios on that again. So look forward to that when we do it, probably in a couple of days' time, to play catch up.
Well, we're going on holiday, aren't we? And we got 2 weeks where we can't take all this stuff with us. So we're trying to keep it consistent. I mean, how long have we been doing this now? Well, it's not 6 weeks, because we've had many failed attempts at getting this started, and bought the wrong type of camera and all that sort of stuff. Like, but don't know. We are still on season 1 at the moment, though, aren't we?
We are season 1, episode 6. We are going to change it up in season 2. We've got plans on the horizon. So yeah. But thanks again for watching, listening, however you're taking this in. And we have a Instagram now. We do. I've forgotten what it is. AEL Life Unfiltered. Something like that. Something like that. Yeah. Oh, that's actually, we should know that. We should. And this is now on Spotify as well, isn't it? So it is. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Bye.